Well, it should affect us dramatically because 2 Peter 3 talks about the fact that in light of the destruction of this old world that's going to come at the return of Christ, in light of the new heavens and the new earth he has promised, it says, what sort of people ought we to be now in terms of life and godliness? Well, if you know where you've come from, you know God's intention in Eden and the fall and how sin brought destruction to the world, and you know that Jesus Christ has in the present era redeemed and saved you, and you know that in the future you're going to live in this perfect world, the home of righteousness, then you want to get a head start now on living righteously. You want to live out the reality of the redemption that Christ has accomplished, not just in the world and will accomplish, but what he has done in your heart and your soul. You also know in terms of the continuity of this life and the next, because if we're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, as we will, each of us, even as believers, it means, Randy Alcorn is going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, giving account of the life I have lived right now and am living right now as Randy Alcorn. So I don't look at this life and say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It'll all come out in the wash. I mean, since Jesus died for all my sins, I may as well sin today. And you know what? If I did righteous things, what difference would it make? I can't earn my salvation by righteousness anyway. And we can think short term, and this is what we end up doing. If we don't think in terms of eternity, don't think in terms of the judgment seat of Christ, don't think of giving an account of our lives, we're far more prone to waste it, because why does my time matter anyway? But God says redeem the time. Why does money matter anyway? I may as well just spend it all on myself. Well, that's the attitude of someone who's acting as if this world under the curse were their home. No, don't live for this temporary residence. Anything that you accumulate here, you're going to leave behind. Live for your eternal home. Don't lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, Jesus said, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. They'll never perish. And when you die, you'll go to be where your treasure is, instead of when you die, you're leaving behind your treasures.